Hello there, this is Ajit Navlaka, and today we are discussing how can you be a spiritual life coach. Now, before we even get into how can you become a spiritual life coach, let's understand what does a spiritual life coach even mean. You see, we as human beings have many different bodies, if I may say. We have the psychological body, we have the physical body, and we have the spiritual body. And most of the time as coaches, we work on the physical body, which is if you're a health coach, you are a nutrition coach, you're working on the physical body of the person. Most of the times, if you're a life coach, you work on the psychological body of a human being. You're working on their psyche, their mindset, how they can get a better performance out of themselves, how can they manage their emotions, and so on and so forth. The most ignored kind of body in ourselves is the spiritual body, our spiritual well-being. And that is where a spiritual life coach comes in. A spiritual life coach is an integration of somebody who uses psychology and spirituality to create a more holistic, more powerful impact in a person's life. So if you're somebody that wants to create an impact in a person's life, where you see the possibility of every human being that you meet, if you believe that you can help people live on purpose, help people live in more alignment with themselves, you're probably someone who is interested in not only becoming a life coach, but a spiritual life coach. In my experience, what I've found is that a lot of us rely so much on our psychology that we forget that there are other dimensions that are a part of us, are part of our body, that will help us shift a lot more dramatically, especially when times are a little bit difficult. Recently, as you may know and realize if you're checking out my backgrounds, is that we have moved. We have moved from one location to another, and we are in a different city, in a different place altogether. And because of that, there was a lot of chaos that was happening in my life. It was good chaos, but it was a lot of chaos. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of changes. And while I am a fairly adaptive person and I follow a lot of self-coaching methodologies and I have my set of coaches that help and guide me, I was in this situation where I was constantly not feeling like I'm enjoying the flow of life, that I was getting challenged all the time, that it didn't feel like that life was happening through me. And that is where all the psychological tools that I was able to use in the past suddenly seemed like that they were not capable to support me anymore. That these psychological tools that otherwise, which are vitally useful, were not useful anymore. Have you found yourself or have you found your clients in a situation where they should ideally get through that challenging period of their life with those psychological tools, but it seems like they're hitting the wall again and again? Seems like they're not able to create that breakthrough. Seems like even if they psychologically know the tools, they're not able to use them to the greatest capacity. Well, if that is you or that is one of your clients, the missing piece might be integrating spirituality with psychology. So if you've been in a situation like this for yourself or for your clients, you already know where this is going. I'm going to show you exactly how you can become a spiritual life coach in just a minute, but I want you to recognize that this is something that transcends traditional life coaching. This is something that a traditional life coach usually finds themselves resistant to or incapable of leaning into. While we have always been spiritual beings, how to really bring spirituality into coaching is a fairly new subject because it has a lot of dogma associated to it sometimes. A lot of times, spirituality in some cultures is directly associated to religion, which may have its own connotations and its own stories. If you're a religious person, there's nothing wrong with using spirituality in a religious undertone, but spirituality, in my opinion, transcends religion. It has much more layers of complexity, is a lot more explainable, and doesn't really need a God to be able to really practice what is true spirituality to human beings. I know this idea may be slightly debatable and you may or may not agree with me fully, but I am sure you have had some sense of a higher self or some sense of universe or some sense of God or whatever you want to call it that has shown you there is something beyond our psyche, beyond our psychology, beyond our mindset that is interesting to us as human beings and may create a whole different dimension of possibilities for us. So I am hoping you're on board in understanding that you need to integrate more spirituality in your life coaching practice to have better results for your clients. Now, before I get into the steps to actually becoming a spiritual life coach, I would really invite you to listen to your spirit and hit that red subscribe button. Because when you hit that red subscribe button and that bell icon, you get a notification every single week when I upload a new video that may help you transcend your life coaching or your business coaching practice to the next level, like this video will. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and let's get started on what is it that you need to become a spiritual life coach. So the first thing that you need to become a spiritual life coach is to start building a philosophy on how you integrate psychology and spirituality. Like psychology has a vast stream of ideas and strategies and the ways to actually coach someone, so is spirituality. Spirituality goes from the far end to very metaphysical ideas to things that are more in the realm of understanding, realm of something that you can experience fairly simply. So the first thing that you really need to develop is an integration of your philosophies around life coaching and spiritual coaching, and see what is that overlap. What is that philosophy that you really believe in? What is it that you believe is spirituality even? Like I explained my understanding of spirituality. What's your understanding of spirituality? How do you intend to use that understanding to be able to coach someone? What are some of those tools that may be handy to you, tools that you have experienced for yourself that are usable in spirituality and hence in spiritual life coaching? So the first thing that you want to do is build a philosophy. Now, building a philosophy may be a big task in itself, which is why I invite you to a special masterclass that I have put together with an amazing coach trainer in spiritual life coaching practice called Christy Whitman. You can find the link to that masterclass below. And in the masterclass, Christy shows her way of actually integrating spirituality and life coaching that makes you more powerful as a coach. So that's a really interesting masterclass. I really invite you to go click on that link and go watch the masterclass. Know that when you click on the link, you're not going to navigate away from the video. It'll just open a new tab so you can continue to watch the video. So don't worry about finishing the video, but do click the link so you can go over and actually have that open and sign up for that class and watch it. It's for free, so it's all good. Okay, so the first step is build a philosophy. And if you haven't yet built a philosophy, it'll be harder for you to really turn your otherwise life coaching practice or just coaching practice into a spiritual life or spiritual business coaching practice. Now, the second piece is very critical because as you integrate spirituality into your life coaching practice or just your coaching practice, you'll find that there are certain people that you are not for. There's certain potential clients you're not for. And there's certain potential clients you are for. It does require you to have that opinion, have that understanding, have that dimension of getting clarity towards who is it that you're for and who is it that you're not for. And the reason is because, like I said, spirituality is a new domain and everybody has their own set of beliefs and ideas and opinions around it. And so a lot of times what you may be trying to do may make sense to a certain set of people, and a certain set of people may find it a little out there or may find themselves not fully resonating with it. And that is where you need to know your audience a little bit better than otherwise you would need to know as a coach, as a general coach. You want to know exactly what kind of audience will be comfortable talking about the ideas that you're talking about and what kind of audience will not be. Now, here's one thing that I've found. A lot of people think, oh, when you're working in a business environment or when you're working with intellectuals, they don't understand spirituality. You can't talk about spirituality. What I found more often than not is the more successful a person is, the more spiritual they are. The more they understand that there is something greater than themselves that is at play. The more they understand that universe works in its own unique ways. Sometimes the more religious they are. And the reason is because as you progress in life, as you get more and more successful in life, you realize that you work hard like the next guy and the next gal. Everybody is working so hard to create a great life. And there is some blessing that has happened in your life because of certain ideas that you have and certain philosophies that you've built as your spiritual philosophies. And hence you have a better Rolodex of really operating in the world. Remember we talked about there are 3 different types of bodies that you have within your body: the physical body, the psychological body, and the spiritual body. Well, most people only work on psychology or physical body. Very few really work on spiritual body. The more successful you get, the more you want to have your spirit be more aligned, and hence you're working on your spirit body as well. So my invitation for you is to not have that limiting mindset and know that there is people available everywhere that are tuned into their spirituality and can tune further into their spirituality with your support. The question you really need to ask yourself is who is it that you're not for and who is it that you are for. The third step is to actually coach. Coach beyond psychology, coach beyond mindset, coach beyond what is available and what can cognitively be explained. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the unknown. Get comfortable with knowing that there are certain things that will be at play. And those things that will be at play will help you, support you in creating those transformations. You just have to let it be. So coach using not just psychology, but spirituality. Invite yourself into a narrative that's beyond the cognitive, the things that we have made some sense of, because we know there is more at play. But the only way to get better at it, to get more comfortable with it, is to actually go out and coach, is to take somebody through a meditation, is to take somebody through a particular exercise, is to show somebody what is possible beyond the realm of understanding, is to be able to address those ideas by integrating a little bit of spiritual teaching, if I may, or spiritual practices with your psychological, right brain life coaching practices that you may already be using. So invite yourself to that dialogue and understand that people across the table do understand. They may choose a different language. They may need a little bit of help in really understanding it and wrap their brains around it, but they do understand and they do know, because we intuitively know there is more than what we understand just right now in the world. They may call it different things. They may come at it from different lenses and different perspectives, but we all know that there is a greater spirit at work than what we have understood as of now as society. So the fourth step is to build your packages for a short period of time. The reason why I have the caveat of that you want to build your packages, yes, that you will be like, of course, I know that, Ajit, but for a short period of time, is because what we have found is because spirituality is something that you're exploring and it's in the new dimension. Very often, if you try to offer somebody a year of work with you, they may find themselves resisting it. They might go, oh, I don't know if I want to do a year's worth of something that I don't fully understand or don't fully know. But it's also significantly faster for you to actually get outcomes with your clients using spirituality or spiritual practices within your life coaching practices. And because of that, if you offer them a 30-day transformation package, a 5-week transformation package, or a 90-day transformation package, it's an easier yes, and the transformation will happen significantly faster anyways. So in a matter of 4 weeks, while a life coach can get marginally better results, a spiritual life coach can completely transform somebody's life because they have access to tools and techniques that otherwise are not available to somebody who's only looking at the world cognitively, only using the psychological body to create a transformation. And that is why spiritual life coaching is so much more powerful. And that is also why we recommend to have just a 30-day engagement so you can show the transformation. And once your client sees the transformation, guess what they're going to do? They would want to get more of that, right? Because when we are getting successful, what do we want to do? We want to get more successful, right? And that's exactly what is going to happen as you do your first package. But start with a smaller package because we know the buy-in, the onboard is a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more nuanced because it's very different than what they may be used to or could even wrap their heads around. So try and start with packages that are simpler, that are easier to say yes to, so you can create the transformation and show them the power of what you're doing, even if they don't fully understand it, because then they will be willing to sign up for a longer package that may create a transformation even more deeply, but with an extended period of time. So give yourself permission to sign short-term packages when you're just starting as a spiritual life coach. And the fifth step is to serve deeply, consistently, and frequently. You need to not only be able to create results one time when you're building a practice around spiritual life coaching. Like I said, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. It's stuff that a lot of people are uncomfortable doing. And that's exactly why once you get comfortable with it, you will absolutely crush it, because very few people have the courage to really go into the spiritual life coaching field and be able to create transformations that are beyond the cognitive understanding of things. And that is why if you do it frequently enough, you will engage the people that otherwise may be disengaged. If you do it deeply enough, you will see impact faster. We know that when we use the practices that we show in spiritual life coaching, a lot of those practices are sometimes able to change the life of a person in one session, which is unheard of in psychological cognitive change. right? Because it takes time to create that change. But if you're using spirituality and the person who's coming on board has an understanding that you are using spirituality and you are using something that is greater than, you will see that the person buys in faster and has a greater transformation, sometimes in just one session, which is why you want to do it deeply. You don't want to hold back when you're working with someone as a spiritual life coach. You want to go deep. You want to be consistent because sometimes it'll take the time that it needs to be able to build that confidence in your practice. And you want to do it frequently so you can get in front of as many people as possible. And you can build your practice by actually practicing, actually coaching people, by frequently serving them deeply. Now, you can choose the platform that you want to be able to serve someone. You could use YouTube as a platform, Facebook as a platform. You could do live workshops. You can go to yoga studios. You could do it in the way you want to. But remember to do it in a deep, frequent, and consistent way so you can create the impact that you truly want to create. Now, I know this topic is very different to our usual topics that we cover on EverCoach, but we truly believe that the missing piece with life coaches right now is integration of spirituality, the permission to say it's okay to not only use the cognitive side of our mind, but also to listen into our soul and our soul's purpose and really align ourselves with that to be able to create a more deeper impact faster with our clients. So on that note, I want to invite you again to our special masterclass with Christy Whitman. It's happening right now. Go find that link in the notes below. Go watch that class. It's going to completely change your perspective towards spiritual life coaching and will give you the tools that you need to start working towards it. So I'm really excited for you to go check that out. If you think this video is amazing or you have any particular notes or some particular ideas that you want to share with me, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you're thinking, Ajit, this is totally cuckoo, share that with me as well in the comment section below, because I know this idea is a little bit on the fringe, but I know it's important and that's why I stand by it and I want to communicate with you and I want to be able to show you the power of it, which is why the masterclass. If for still some reason you haven't hit the red subscribe button, go and hit it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ajit Navlekar and you're watching this on EverCoach.